So this is a reflection of you being an artist as well as like showcasing the Jewish history here.
This is a well-known piece. It appears in my articles that I write for Aretz Sheva, Israel National News, in many forms. It was in a recent article where your producer contacted me on. It's called Diaspora. It talks about 2,000 years of Jewish life under Christianity, in Europe at least. And so it starts with the galley. You see the galley? The Jews didn't want to go to Europe. They were dragged from their homes. They were taken as slaves. There's a Roman between two Jews. They rode themselves into slavery, those who survived. And when they got there, they were sold on the slave market. And there were so many that flooded the market that the price of the slave went down. So one, there's a commandment to free the captive. So one freed the other, and they started communities. Later, after paganism, when Christianity came into play, they were forced to wear identifiable costumes. So those are those ridiculous yellow helmeted hats that they were forced to wear. So they could be identifiable, so that they could be treated like chattel and shoved from place to place and drained and milked and used whatever way was practical for the feudal fiefdoms that the whole Europe existed in. In Rhineland, the Crusaders came and they decimated communities. And they went down into France and they decimated communities and went to the Holy Land. And whatever Jews were left from the Byzantine genocide, artificial policy of genocide, they continued. And they wiped out families and communities in Shomron and Yehuda, Samaria and Judea. They wiped out families in the Golan. But the Jews clung to that land, and whenever they could, even during the Inquisition, even before Nazi Germany, they tried to get back there. Meanwhile, in Europe, the Jews are still living there, peacefully, trying to be part of the society, making contributions. But there are pogroms and there are blood libels. But there's the Pope, and he is the one drinking the blood. And worse, he's drinking the blood of a Jew. He's drinking the blood of Jesus. And the sacrament. And how would Jesus feel that his brothers and sisters are being violated in this way? You go here to Portugal and Spain, the autodafés, and they burn the Jews and the witches at the stake. And so we go all the way here. And this is the church. And the church talks about the perfidy of the Jew, which was changed by John Paul. And then it goes from demon choir boys, firefly choir boys, the Reformation, baby Jesus. And Mary, she wears yut, right? She's a Jew. And above her is Jesus. He's not Norwegian Jesus. He's not African Jesus. He's not Dominican Jesus. He's a Jewish Jesus with long side locks and ritual fringes. And he's all surrounded by angelic, perfect choir boys. You go here. My Jewish mother.
One second,
We go here. This is my great-grandfather with the long blonde side locks. It's him and his wife, Rabbi Pesach Terkinich. He worked as an artist. He was an engraver of coins. He was also wrote spiritual works. And his wife and him and his 4 children were buried alive. My grandmother, he sent the girls away because they could be violated. And so my grandmother and sister were sent away first. They fled. They ended up in two different boats in 2 different places, Oregon and New York, and they never saw each other again. This is a story that reverberates me. And I don't think there's a day in my life that I don't think about that story, because my grandmother was the gentlest soul. She lived at a time when most Jews were poverty-stricken. Some children didn't have shoes on their feet. They wrapped their feet in rags to go out. she lived like a princess. When there was 1,000 edicts against Jews in Russia, she lived like a princess, so to speak, comparatively. When she came here, she was an abject slave. She shoveled coal into the furnace because she was the janitor in the building. She had 8 kids. She took care of her kids and other people's kids. She took the garbage down from every flight because that's what a janitor did in those days. And she still had to work in the sweatshops just to eat and survive. So that's what anti-Semitism did to her life. And I'm a remnant of a remnant of a remnant. And so is every other Jew, whether he's a liberal or a conservative, reform or orthodox. Now you go here, and that's Hitler. That's the Gestapo. That's the SS. That's the angel of death. And he's grabbing a Jew into the concentration camp. He's pulling him into Lager. And in that Lager, there's ghouls. And they're taking bodies and putting them in furnaces. And the mothers and the fathers and the children are coming out as angels. And they're reaching here. They're reaching here. They're going where all the prayers are, go in the wind to Jerusalem. And this here is a synagogue burning. The last Jew standing has clutching the scroll, and an angel is pushing him out of the building. And there's my son, and he's raising a Star of David on this burning synagogue. And it says in Hebrew, Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live. And that is why there is no place like home. And that is why we only have one home. And whoever doesn't understand that has ulterior motives. Whoever doesn't understand that as a Jew is suffering from some kind of psychological misfortune. I'm sorry to say.
But you cannot de-Jewifying the Jews, right? Always a Jew.
A Jew, they're always a Jew, but there is such a thing as a Jew who is committed and a Jew who should be committed. There's a double entendre on the second one.
Okay, okay. So that's a whole story of the victimhood that Jews go through. But for Jewish people who are not like believing in the orthodoxy or in the they're secular ones, for them maybe it's harder to understand.
I talk to them the way I would talk to someone who's Christian. I would say, you know people by their history. The Jews never cried victimhood, they only rebuilt. Besides rebuilding, they didn't blame anyone. Did the Jews come out of concentration camp, come to Germany, kill, rape, murder? Did they? Did they?
No.
No. They were more worried about the Russian officers than they were worried about the Jews, because the Jews are not a violent people. And no one should know that better than the Europeans. And no one should come to the offense better than the Europeans. And no one should want to see a stronger Israel than the Europeans.
And where is your home?
My home now is here. But under these circumstances, a change in government will have me shift very quickly. I have very strong roots here. I have a community. I have children here. It's not entirely good for Israel to be bereft of Jews, nor is it good for this country. Because without Jews, you diminishing your opportunity for all the immense contributions that they make.
But do you also see that the government in Israel is using this kind of narrative, what you describe now, also to justify their own policies that they're doing?
Have you no shame to tell that to me? Have you no shame? Would you like to sit in a bunker with your children shaking because there's rockets coming in over a border? Would you like to go to a bus stop not knowing if you could be rammed by a car, by an Islamist psychopath? Would you like to live next to a culture that pays murderers $25,000 for their action and a stipend further on, and more? Would you like to live next to a society that has only the interest of destroying life and not sanctifying life? I don't think any European country is going to stand for that. No one is going to stand for it. And America wouldn't stand. Had Mexico come over the border and did such a thing.
So that's defense mode.
It's defense. Jews are not violent. You have 2,000 years of proof. Jews are studious, productive, make contributions to the arts, the sciences. 25% of Nobel Prize winners are Jewish. Not even 1% of the world population. You want to kill the brain? Go kill the brain. See where this world will be. You want to get rid of your Jews? See where the world. You, Germany and Austria, replaced your Jews. How are your new immigrants doing? Are they treating your Western culture with respect? Are they treating your daughters with respect? Are they good citizens? Are they assimilating?
We can't generalize.
Are they making contributions?
No.
You can't judge. Well,
No.
and you judge everyone. Everybody judges everyone. That's how you get through life. It's a psychological fact. But if you are ignoring things around you as it's getting darker, that's up to you. That's your decision now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very good.
Very good. Thank you.